cool. How about this? Oh, I just farted. I'm back. If there's anybody out there. Oh, there goes my intro music. That is the question of the night. Oh man, it's internet bad. Welcome to Brazil. Welcome to the Brazil Expat Journal. My music is glitching. It's glitching a lot. Other reasons why I haven't done the Expat Journal in so long. Hello, guys. That has to go down as like one of the weirdest intros to the Brazil Expat Journal ever. How are you guys? Pete, as usual, some things don't change. Pete, as usual, is having some connection problems. So I wouldn't want that to ever change because it adds to the flavor of the show. I'm here. Look at me. I'm showing my face for once. Because I'm kind of pumped. This is episode 60. I can't believe we've done this many Brazil Expat Journals. I'm here. I'm having my cake to celebrate. I hope you're having something. And where's my wine? I had wine somewhere around this house. It's coming. Guys, in case you have not known, I've been posting slowly but surely, right? I haven't done a lot of expat journals in a while just because I've been really busy. Life has been really insane. And I'm going to give you a little bit of it while Pete tries to connect here, while people come in. Hopefully, we still have an audience. Hopefully, we still have an audience. And thank you, everybody that sent messages. The one guy that was talking about Watif. Yes, I did know Watif. If I'm not mistaken, and it's kind of like a weird kind of thing to like have, with me, is that weird recognition, I guess, is that I think Watif, I think I was the last person like interviewed him like formally, online and stuff. So there's an interview with him on my channel. And I always talk about this interview, sometimes privately. I think I mentioned it once publicly on the channel that I was so nervous, because Watif is somebody that I really looked up to in the podcasting space, the YouTubing space, whatever it is. He was always somebody that was up to something. And I'm somebody that's always up to something. So I think we connected, but I come from with a way different energy that he does. And those that were fans of Watif, including myself, know that. He was like, boom, very strong energy. And I'm a little bit more laid back. Although I think I got, some of his style rubbed off on me because I'm a little bit more aggressive, if you want to call it, in my style since my time with him. And so I was really nervous. Like I always say that I get nervous before the BEJ, but I really don't because I'm pretty good at, BEJs. But that one made me nervous because he's a guy that really, he knew his stuff. He studied a lot and I needed to be on my A game. And there was a little bit in the middle where it kind of got into a debate between me and him over the word people of color. And he saw it one way. I saw it as another way. It's kind of funny because we're going to talk about prejudice in Brazil tonight. And it's kind of funny that was a little bit of it. The debate was a little bit about wording and semantics. And I didn't like it because it felt like I was in a debate with the guy. And I never want to be in a debate with a guest. Even if I don't necessarily agree with everything that the guest is saying, I would just like to, as long as they don't go overboard, and sometimes I'll challenge, something that they say or ask, give me more details, but I don't like to really debate. I guess that's not what this show is set up to be. So yeah, I always felt bad about that interview. I've gone back and listened to it once or twice just to, remember Watif. And, it wasn't as bad as it sounds in my mind, but still pretty bad. Mr. Peter Bear, I see you here. It says you are not connected twice on my page. Okay, so keep trying. We definitely want to get Pete in here. So I'm going to give you the flash version, the real quick version of what has happened to me in the last, since the last BJ, which is, I guess, in October, guys. And it starts well, actually, it doesn't start with this, but I'm going to show you a little bit from my Instagram. Now, guys, this is the one thing. This Instagram has been deactivated. This one with like 1,700 people on there, Phil in Brazil. So anybody that's found me from like Ace Live and stuff like that, it was following me on Phil in Brazil. Well, let me just fix that. Do not go there anymore. Okay. I'm slowly transferring this stuff over to my new page. Why I'm showing you this page? You can see that I do post a lot about what's going on in Sao Paulo. Here's me, Eagles. That was a Super Bowl night. Just going around the city. So I have a lot of stuff, and again, I'm going to slowly but surely transfer it over to my new Instagram, which I'll show you in a second what it is. But what really happened, guys, last year that just gave me like no time to do anything is this. As I'm gonna post this right here. My dog died last year, and I was very time consuming, very expensive, very stressful moment. And this was what, December 29th. So it was like right at the end of the year. Uh, he had his last hurrah. And right when this happened, I also started dating somebody in July, which got a little bit serious. So he moved into the house, but at the same time that he moved into the house, a friend of mine moved in that I had promised could move in like way before I met the guy I was dating, because I was having some financial issues. I was focusing a lot on the wait 1 second. 1 second, I hear somebody doing something and it's loud. Anyway, I'm back. So the where was I? I'm trying to tell you a little bit of my drama. Oh, there's my little cousin, my son. Okay. Yeah, so this is Fritz. You're seeing pictures of Fritz right now on the channel. I think you are. Actually, you're not. Oh, Peter's here. All right, Peter. I'm trying to add you to the stage, man.
Yes, yes. The other browser works.
Doing my best, but now it's the yeah, everything's broken, guys. Welcome to 2025 Brazil, where everything's broken. Anyway, I thought I was sharing the screen. I'm not sharing, and now I'm clicking on Pete's name. I can't get him in the broadcast. Patience, young one, patience. I'll get you in here eventually. Um, yeah, I definitely don't want to refresh the page because knows what the hell is going to happen if I do that. But it is like really frozen here. Um, so there you go. Things are starting to move. There you go. Things are starting to appear. I think I see Pete coming in. This is what I need to add to the stage right here. Look, I'm relearning how to live stream. Oh God, the first glorious 10 minutes. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going just real like. Let me like get through this fast because it's just drama, guys. So dog died, friend moved in, started dating for real. Finally, we're still together. It's been over a year. Um, cultural place, happening downtown. There was the cultural spot downtown that was also taking up a lot of my time. I've posted a little bit of that. Hey, Jeffrey, what's up, guys? Pete, I swear I'm trying to add you to the stage, but this thing is being like really a pain in my ass right now, and it's really making it really hard to do. Let me talk. I think that's gonna be better for me, less stressful, because I can't focus. All right, let's try to add Pete to the stage. There you go. There's Pete, the Dark
All right.
Man. You're like that
Well,
movie Dark Man.
well, I got the camera on. That's something.
Well, it is. It is. Wait up. Wait up. Let me let me get through this, and then we'll get to the main topic because people keep asking. I keep getting these comments. Where the hell are you? What's going on with the BJ? So I'm basically
Dude, you've
giving
been
them the
having
drama.
gay sex for 6 months. Okay, this is
I
where
know. Well,
you've
no, for
been.
over a year. Over a year.
Yeah,
That
okay,
does
yeah,
that
exactly. I haven't seen you
that
since fucking
does.
Carnival. Because you're all
Yeah.
fucking gaying it up. That's what you're doing.
I, well,
But
there's
don't
that.
don't make excuses. I know your dog died, but your dog died in December, so
I
let's
know.
face it.
So what happened? Yeah. So guys, so Pete is right. So since February, that's when shit really hit the fan, though. But Pete, that's the thing that a lot of people don't know, is that because of like how well, at least in my head, the cultural side was going. We were having a lot of movement downtown. Uh, we ended up in a new place. Like we got kind of kicked out of that place. The
Oh
guy
yeah,
raised the rent by quite a bit, and so we moved out, and we got a new place. But then I kind of just I bet on myself. Let's put it that way. I bet on myself. I cut some of my hours at work because I wasn't being able to keep up with the workload at work. I work in a high school, and the kids are insane. So I told my boss I can't do all of that. I got to cut my hours in half, which I did, which also means my salary was cut in half, which also means I did about 2 months, and I'm still kind of living through the third month right now of like living off of like pennies.
yeah.
Until September, it looks like things are going to be picking back up. I got a lot of students in July during my vacation, but it was kind of like a what do you call those, Pete? Like the demolitions, planned demolition.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The
I
same thing
planned
happened to
demolition.
me. The same
Yes.
thing happened to me. They raised
Oh,
my
oh,
rent
I see
from
somebody's on.
950 to 1150, and I just refused to pay it.
What? Wait, say that
Like,
again. I missed that. I missed that last part.
they raised my
What's
rent
up,
from
Jeff?
950 to 1150, and I just refused to pay it. I was like, "No, I'm not fucking paying that. What are you gonna do about it?" I mean, they could get someone to throw me out, but they know no one's going to pay 1150 for a place like this. So,
I
yeah, they
feel
just let
you.
it go. I was just like, no, fuck you. I'm not paying it.
Yeah, I had a similar situation here. I'm praying, I'm crossing my fingers they don't raise my rent this year, but they haven't raised it in a few years because they know like who the hell's gonna move into this house at the price that it's at right now,
Yeah.
rental wise. So yeah, it's scary because dude, I went from making a certain amount to making at least I don't know. I'd say ballpark figures 60 to maybe 70% less than that. Let's say if my salary had a 7 at the end or an 8 at the end, it was like 3 at the first number was like a 3, maybe 3,000 something, which is not a lot. You cannot survive in Sao Paulo with that, but it was like definitely a planned demolition.
No,
And
getting through an entire day on less than $100 is difficult these days.
it is difficult. And guys, definitely we're going to talk economy. We're going to, because as I was also saying before Pete came in, I've been doing a lot of these random thought things just to kind of warm myself up, get back into the groove because it's hard to do these podcasts sometimes if you haven't done them in a while. And one of the things I really want to talk about is just coming to Brazil, like in turning this Brazil Expat Journal into a real journal of like what's going on day to day. Is it a good time to come to Brazil? Well, guys, if you're earning in dollars, perhaps, but if you're coming here, you're trying to make some reais. But even if you're trying to start business down here, if you're trying to invest down here, I don't know. It's a really rough time. And Jeff is on, by the way. So I want to thank this man because that planned demolition involved me investing some of my money too, which I had been saving up. And Jeff, man, thank you, sir. He hooked me up with some investments this year, which have been very, very, very good to me. So a lot of stuff's been going on. So BJ, as much as I love doing the BJ, it was like here on a list of things to do. So, but we're back. We're going to try our best to keep it up, for the second semester. Uh, can we do it weekly? I don't know, but I'm going to try to promise at least twice a month because it's so much fun talking to you guys, and there's so much going on down here in Brazil right now. Pete, the main topic, of tonight is about prejudice in Brazil. And I want to look at it from all different aspects. Okay, I want to just look at it from the aspect of not just black people, but you know what women say about living in Brazil, what even white people that come down here, their experience coming to Brazil, people from different socioeconomic classes, because not everybody that comes to Brazil is rich. Some people are poor and come to Brazil, and actually Brazil is a step up from where from their life before they came here.
Yeah, a lot
Um,
of Syrians came here
a lot, yeah. So we'll talk about
and
some
Venezuelans.
different cultures, and yeah, and how they have experienced Brazil, and of course opening it up to you guys. I wanted a buddy of mine to come on tonight, Marcos, but he wasn't available, so we're just gonna kind of free ball it. And I got my chat GPT open to give us a few data points, but for the most part, guys, wait, let me just close this out before I go. So real quick, guys, you see here, if you want to know what's going on with me day to day, don't follow this page. I just wanted to show it to let you know, hey, my dog died. But where am I now? Where can you follow me now? You can follow me right here at Phil Ray OFC. Okay, that's where I'm gonna be, and I post a lot of stuff. Look, like my little brother got married this weekend. There's the new cultural spot that we opened downtown. You can see here, Conexão 337. So if you want to see, or if you want to keep in touch with me and kind of get more of a vibe of what I'm doing day to day, because I know the BJ sometimes takes a while to come out, this is where you're going to find me. Okay. And that's what we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of this stuff. So the big question, I mean, I've been asked this question a lot. I don't know how many people have ever asked you this question, Pete, but they always say, do you think Brazil is more racist than the United States?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, my answer is always yes. And I think most black folks, a friend of mine, will
Yeah.
say yes. That it
Yeah,
is. But then the
your
question
chief
is like,
didn't think
why?
that way.
Why?
Your chief didn't think that way. That was your first
Say that
argument.
again, because you cut out.
Yusuf didn't think that way.
What is it?
Yusuf, Yusuf.
Yusef.
Yes, yes,
Watif,
he
you mean?
didn't. Yeah. Watif. He didn't think that way. He actually thought that Brazil
Really?
was more racist than the United States, which I found
He thought it was
surprising.
more or less.
He thought Brazil was less racist than the United States, and
All right. See, I
I,
didn't know that. I was thinking of another friend of mine. I didn't know that he had that point of view. So that just goes to show you guys that that's why I like doing the podcast, because you get different perspectives. Not everybody's gonna see everything the same way that you see it. I would love to well, rest in peace, but I would love to have him on to get his views on that. Um, I know I'm not gonna say who the other person is, but basically she just said, "Look, since I've been here, people have been friendly to me. People have always treated me nice." Um, and I haven't had any issues.
it's funny though because everyone here is so mixed race. Like nobody is one race. Like
Mm-hmm.
even people who look pasty white. Like I look pasty white, and
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother was a native Canadian, so I mean, everybody has mixed blood, but there are definitely tribalistic lines, and the native people and the black people are particularly looked down upon by the upper class, which is predominantly white. Not all white, actually. Like there's a lot of Latinos in power in Brazil as well, but
Yeah,
yeah,
this is a category that they call the pardos, or like the kind
yeah.
of light skinned, yeah, light skinned kind of, yeah, they're not white, but you kind of get the like the Jennifer Lopez, maybe skin complexion, if you want to say it, or even I mean, some people would consider me pardo. I don't ride with the pardo, but I think it's literally like the color of what do you call that? Carbon paper? Was that what they used to call it back in school? That you would wrap up
Yeah,
something.
yeah, 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 yeah.
You know, like, and when I looked at that definition, I was like, what the hell is this bullshit? So it's funny because Brazil's like the first place where I've self-identified as black, and I kind of really felt it was important down here because of some of these things. You know what Pete said is so true. You can't look at Brazilian racism or Brazilian race, forget racism, the same way that you do United States. You know, United States lines were very clearly drawn. I'm not sure how it was in Canada, Pete, but in the US it's very clearly drawn. Black folks are over here, white folks are over there. Stay on your side of the tracks and there will be no problems. Brazil, there's a whole lot more mixing that happened. The only thing, Pete, is that I don't know if you know this, but a lot of this mixing was actually kind of imposed by the government to like whiten the race. It wasn't like just, all the white guys all of a sudden got jungle fever. It was like, let's make these dark folks a little bit lighter, so it was
Mm.
actually a planned um, mixing. Okay, it wasn't, just it didn't just happen out of the blue, like people fell in love. So there's a lot of nuance when you talk about race in Brazil, and especially because there is, and look, this is straight out of GPT right here. Let me see. It says Brazil has a complex racial landscape. It's a country with deep historical mixing, you
The
know
last country to abolish slavery.
It's the last country to abolish slavery, and it also is a country that didn't give a lot of support for these slaves once they were freed. So black
Right.
folks were kind of left to their own devices, if you want to put it
Which
that
led to
way,
the favelas.
and also just stay on the plantation. A lot of slaves were, I shouldn't say more than happy, but they were willing to stay on the farms and keep working them, you know,
Yeah. Why not?
because what else are you going to do?
Exactly.
I don't blame them. I mean, given that
Yeah.
option. So it says here, slavery lasted until 1888. And then, look at that. And I swear I did not read this part here that when I put it in Chat GPT. And guys, just to be, full disclosure, I just put the question, how racist is Brazil? Okay, maybe could have been less, a little bit more objective with the question, like, is Brazil racist? But whatever. Here we go. Look what I said. The state promoted European immigration in the late 19th and 20th century to whiten the population, which is
Yeah.
an openly racist policy. And I think what gets people mixed up when they come down here, or when they're thinking of coming down here, especially black folks, and I know I got a nice chunk of black audience, is Brazil's the racial democracy. This is where all let the good times roll. The Bahia is
No.
like the blackest place on planet Earth. Outside of Africa, and then you're like, oh, it's gonna be wonderful down here, but it's not everything, not everything that glitters is gold. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Um, and so what you're gonna get when you get down here, the reality is this: is that the country is as segregated, if not more segregated, than the United States. Okay,
Yeah. And the thing is, the psychology impacts people of color. Like,
good point.
even like if you're a white person and you're not racist, like, that's one thing. But the other thing is that if you are a black person or a Latino
No,
person or maybe an Asian person, you recognize that there are spaces that are not meant for you. And maybe the people in those spaces don't even think that, but you think that. You're like, I don't belong in this fancy hotel with all these white people.
dude,
Um,
that's deep. That's deep what you said, and I'm sorry to cut you off. It's just that what you said is very, very deep, and I've faced this a few times. Especially, I think when Renee has been on the podcast, we've talked about the difficulties with dating Black Brazilians because they don't always have the capacity to be like exactly what you said. Like I'll just go wherever the hell I want. Like they'll
yeah,
feel uncomfortable Because I can go to the favela. I feel fine in the suburbs and the favela. I got no problems. But I also feel fine in a 4-star, 5-star restaurant. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay. But it doesn't work the other way around. Most of the time, it's changing. That's the good news. It's
Yeah,
that.
but there's this shame ingrained in Brazilian people of color to just recognize that like this is not your space.
It and dude, and that reality. That's why, when people ask me which country is more racist, I'm always going to answer Brazil, because
Hmm.
it's still in a lot of Black Brazilians' minds that exactly what you said. This is not my space. This is not for me. I shouldn't be here. You can see the uncomfortableness in their face. You can see, like, it's palpable. That's the word, right?
Palpable, palpable.
Yeah. Um, and I remember when, like, my first big culture shock when I came down here was going to teach an English class, and out comes this big Black girl serving me coffee. I thought I was like back and Gone with the Wind, right? And then it just made me feel icky, seeing this. And so I made it a point whenever I went into these houses to like actually hug and give a kiss to the maids, and that did not go over well. A lot of students, like, it was weird, but some, I shouldn't say a lot of them, but some, a choice few, stopped having classes with me in their apartments. They would start asking me to have class with me in the area down there, like the general area that they have at the bottom of the building. And I just thought it was kind of coincidental that it was right after I kind of made a Facebook post about how I thought the maid culture was really freaky. But it is. It's just stuff like that will freak you out a little bit if you're coming here from another country, a first world country, where you have a few more rights, where you've managed to carve a space in society that, you got a bigger piece of the pie than your ancestors have. And then you come to Brazil and you're fed this image. I believed it for a little bit too, of this racial democracy. It's this country where blacks and whites and everybody gets together and they're having a good time. And well, it's not
No, it's not
exactly
like that.
like, yeah, it's not like that, and then you start to notice the only people that they show on TV is like the samba dancers, the
Oh
soccer
my God, the
players.
novellas. There's a novella. There's one. I watched this with my roommates when I lived in the Republica. It was called Outro Lado Paradiso, the other side of paradise,
Oh,
and it
outro
was set
lado
in
do
Bahia,
paraíso.
and the
Yeah.
entire cast was white. Like, how can you have a soap opera set in Bahia with an entirely white cast? It's impossible.
Dude, I somebody in the comments had asked, because I mentioned a little bit of racism, because something racist happened to me like this weekend, in fact. So if you watch the Random Thoughts, you know that I was in Moema last week, and then the security guard out of nowhere just started walking towards me and Jordan, a buddy of mine, from far off, and he just was walking like it was a zombie walk, dude. It was so scary. I'm gonna see if I can make the face here. Wait up. I'm holding something in my hand that I shouldn't show on camera, so I'm trying to be careful.
I hope it's not what I think it is.
But it was, oh, maybe I shouldn't have taken those glasses off. It's a giveaway of what I was holding off camera. So, dude, he was like this. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not even joking. Ask Jordan next time you see him. Boom. From at least 20 feet away. So he's like slowly walking in our direction. And Jordan's looking at me like, why the fuck is this nigga looking at me? Right? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, why is he looking at me? He's got it. And then he walked all the way up to us. He's like, que vocês estão fazendo? What are you doing? Oh, and Eduardo was there too. He's a witness. He's next to me. And I said, we are trying to just film. We were just going to film around. We were trying to film some content. It was an open square. There was a beautiful fountain. And he says, well, to film here, you need to get permission from the building manager. I was like, what the fuck is this, dude? So I went back and forth with him. And I said, I posted a video of me like holding the camera and showing him following us. Like I just held the camera just to be an asshole. I was like, look how beautiful this park is. The guy said we couldn't film here, but I'm going to film here anyway. And then he starts to slow walk. You can see him in the back of the camera. And then I turned it off out of respect, not to show his face. But then I asked him, I was like, dude, if this is illegal, then you ask for the building manager or you call the cops. Otherwise, leave us alone. And he walked away. And things like that stick with you. It's one of the reasons I moved out of Moema. This happened in a neighborhood called Moema, which I love. It's a gorgeous neighborhood. Every time I'm back
Moema
there,
is the only all-white neighborhood in Sao Paulo.
no, it isn't. There's a lot of all-white neighborhoods in Sao Paulo, but that's one of the ones that is, I've lived in. That's very annoying for being all white, because they are the whites that will stare. Okay, they're the whites that will be like, you don't belong here. And although I lived there for about a year, I dealt with it, but it got to a point, like that was the first place in my life that I had guns pointed at me. It was the police. Two cops pointed. Like,
well, I had cops pointing their guns at me outside your place
in front of my house. I know,
yeah.
but you look dangerous. You look like a serial killer. I would point a gun at you
maybe.
Too. But so I was like, when that happened, when I get guns pulled on me by the police, like I've been stopped by police here in Butantan too, but they're not pulling the guns out like heavy duty style. They're just like, get by the wall, spread your legs, do this. No, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just walking, sir. Thank you, sir. Boom. There, I was like, ooh, this shit can get ugly. So not the best neighborhood if you're a black dude, but great neighborhood to go eat. So I like to go there every once in a while to just have some food. But that's, you only start to see that stuff when you're on the ground here. And if you're coming from a different country, what usually happens, is where the issue comes in, is that you're going to have a little bit more money. So, yeah, it made sense for me to live in Moema, with dollars or with the amount of money that I was making at the time. I could afford to live there.
But it has terrible transportation infrastructure.
Well, now it's got a metro, which
it is better now. Yeah,
I lived there when there was no metro, but it was actually really easy access to Centro. So it's funny. I got to know the downtown, the old town, São Paulo, before I got to know Paulista, because it's a pain in the ass to get to Paulista from Moema. But Centro, you get to Centro in like 20 minutes. It's just like straight shot. So I used to go there every Sunday. I met this black girl in Moema that worked at the shopping mall, and every day after work we would go to the samba and then this gay club till like 4 or 5 in the morning. It was like the best time of my life. But all that said, I had to get out, and I'm saying all of this why, guys, if you're coming to Brazil, you gotta just be ready to until you open your mouth sometimes and they hear the English come out, they're going to judge you a certain way. Now, I'll tell you with Watif, you bring up a good point with Watif, because Watif used to always talk about something else that I disagree with him on, was about like, São Paulo is really not that dangerous. It's not. And it has a little bit.
Was huge.
Exactly. Like, yeah. So you got to put that in the equation. You can't not put that in the equation.
Yeah, and this other friend of ours, the guy we went out with on Carnival, he's like, I've never had a problem. It's like, dude, you're like 260 fucking pounds, and you're black.
Exactly.
So people assume, number one, you're poor, and number two, you're giant, so it's not worth their effort.
Exactly. So there's a little bit of that you have to put into the equation. Like me, I was born in Brazil. I'm literally a Brazilian. So unless I open my mouth to speak English, they're just going to assume I'm just like, a black kid from the favela that studied a little bit more and managed to get a job. So that's why he's on Paulista. But he might still be a criminal, so watch out. So I understand that. Now, Watif, he doesn't look like a Brazilian black. That's another thing. Brazilian black folks have a very particular look to them. They're usually shorter, stockier, big butts, big thighs.
And they're mixed. They're mixed.
Yes.
So they don't have the dark skin tone that Watif has.
Yes, and American blacks are usually bulkier. They have a different physique, so you're gonna read as foreigner to Brazilian more than maybe somebody that was born here for sure.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of elements involved, but it doesn't change the fact that people are treating you different based on how you look, uh, and I'm gonna twist this in a way that's I think it's kind of weird, but I like is that even affects white folks when you come down here, you know, because they're gonna assume that if you're white, you got money, and
Yep.
not every white person that's down here has money. So if you're white and you come to Brazil, realize that the it's a type of a prejudice. I'm making a prejudgment about you based on how you look. You gotta watch yourself, and just realize that this is a country that has a lot of people that don't have, you know, and if you appear to have just a little bit, you're going to be a target for crime, for scammers, and things like that. So the uh, I wouldn't call it racism, but the prejudice works always. Racism is mostly going in one direction, but when we're talking about prejudice, it's kind of all around. So you do need to be aware of this. Now, Pete, I do want to move on. I do want to move on because check this out. We were talking here, but this is just showing some wait up. This is showing some facts and figures here, about wage disparities and informal work, unemployment. Black Brazilians 7.5. It's what you would expect. Education is worse among blacks. University degrees worse. Violence and brutality, of course. Police killings. Um, but somebody in the comments in another video had asked about Bahia specifically. And it says here, despite Bahia's majority black population, approximately 80%, the state's political and economic power remains disproportionately in the hands of a white elite. And until recently, Bahia had never had a black governor, except for, I think, when it was under the military junta, that period back in
Right.
the 60s. So it's like, how does the blackest state, actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's the blackest area, just landmass outside of
Yeah,
Africa.
yeah. It's like one of the blackest places outside of Africa.
Yeah, how did they not have black leadership? So that just cuts down the
They
for me.
do in terms of business leadership though. Like the most black businesses in Brazil are out of Bahia. During the pandemic, they came up with some amazing shit. There was this one black business that came up with the app of well, it was basically the Green Book. It literally was, but it was an app. And it was like a travel advisory for Black Brazilians traveling around Brazil to know where the best places were. And those people, I don't think they became billionaires, but they became millionaires. So there's a lot of black tech companies coming out of Brazil. So maybe they don't have the political leadership, but they have the
Mhm.
business leadership.
Well, what you mentioned is kind of cool because we're kind of shitting on Brazil at the moment, but guys, things have gotten better, and especially what Pete's talking about with like black entrepreneurship, black capitalism. Uh, Recife became like a tech hub. I remember, what was it 2010? I had these guys down here from India that used me as an interpreter for an Oracle conference because they wanted to bring their startup down here, and they just gave up because Brazil just didn't have enough tech know-how. And now they're back. The guy actually messaged me earlier this year. He wanted me to work for him. I said, dude, I'm like tech unsavvy. You don't want me working for you,
Yeah.
but thank you for the contact. Uh, but he's like, yeah, we're really pushing to get operations back up in Brazil because tech finally came up here. Brazil's one of the top countries for like bank apps and stuff like that because there's so much crime down here. They became
Nobody
really
uses
good
cash
at doing all that
anymore.
stuff online. Nobody uses cash. And so there's a lot of black entrepreneurship and Afropunk. That became huge here.
Yes, yes, and
That's
I've
in
witnessed
Salvador all
it,
the
and
time.
it is really good.
Yeah, so it's Brazil has come up, there's still a long ways to go, but compared to when I first got here, and it was like impossible to see a black face on a newsstand in any magazine, except for like the Macumba magazine, right? I'm like, come on, like black people got to do more than just condom black, right? Now you see, some black entrepreneurs, still not at the level of more developed nations, but getting there. But dude, I want to shift to the something that you love, which women. Okay, I was gonna say something else, but I'll be nice. We're
You were
doing
going
a
to say
segment. Yeah, we're doing a segment about sexism. Maybe I don't. I should speak a bit better. Speaking of, but guys, sexism. Ladies, all the ladies, help me out. Come on, put some stuff in the comments. I'm just gonna regurgitate what women have told me. So, women, when you come down here, just be aware of this. One, Brazil, yes, is sexist as hell. Okay, they feel it. They're the same way black folks say. Hey, I think most black folks say Brazil is more racist. Most women will say Brazil is more sexist, and for a variety of reasons. One is because Brazil, it still has like this very kind of Catholic roots. It's very like, what's the word, provincial in a way. Even in a big city, because you get a, even like you get a city like Sao Paulo, 20 million people, but it's made up of immigrants. Where are these immigrants coming from? Mostly the Northeast. What is the Northeast? It's like the American South. It's very, very, it's a bit more conservative. It's a bit more religious. So even in a city as big as Sao Paulo, you're going to get this kind of provincial, the traditional roles of man and women type of vibe, which is kind of
Yeah, but
crazy.
it's not in Sao Paulo, it's not the stay-at-home mom type role though. That's the more provincial role.
Yes,
In Sao Paulo, women work.
they do. But
And
they
that
still,
oftentimes they work harder than the men.
yeah, but you notice though, they still, at even as working wives, they still manage to have like that wife feel of like there's still a traditional family, mom, dad, kids. Obviously, it's Sao Paulo, so you're going to get a lot more diversity, but Brazil in general is kind of conservative when it comes to their gender roles. You're going to get
Not
Rio, you're going to get Sao Paulo, and then you're going to get everything else, which is kind of traditional. I don't think Brazil is as freaky as it
in
makes
Sao
itself out
Paulo
to be.
though, women are pretty ambitious, man. They go for the gold. They will
Yeah,
they will they will happily put their careers before their family.
I agree with you. I would say for Sao Paulo more than other places, but
Yeah,
I just
outside of
still,
Sao Paulo, maybe not.
yeah, and even still, I see like, because sometimes I'll go out with students and stuff like that. And it'll be like a business night out, and you see the couples just the way they're working couples. There's still a role of like what the woman does, what the man does,
Yeah,
and
but you know what? A lot of those marriages are not going to last. I've seen those couples that you're talking about, and you can
yes,
tell what she's thinking in her head. She's like, this guy isn't right for me. He's going to hold me back.
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, and I guess for this, it would be. I mean, it'd be interesting if we had a Brazilian woman on here. We've had many, so I'm not
Yes.
totally against having our guests, but I just need a little bit more time before we actually get guests on because it's a lot more work. Um, but It's gotten better. The same way for me, I see with stuff dealing with black culture, it's gotten better, but there's still a way to go. It's gotten better, but there's still a way to go with women. Like for example, I have, and it's not, she's not the only person that said this. It's just somebody very close to me that I worked with for about 5, 6 years teaching English, became a good friend of mine. Her and her partner, they both would say the same thing when they had to go to meetings. I used to work at Global, which is the big television network
I
here,
know.
SBT.
Yeah.
They're like, we had to take a man in with us because it just was easier to get stuff done. Like they would not let us talk, or if we did have to talk in a meeting, they wouldn't listen to us. And this was what, 2010, 12, 13. Surely it's gotten better, of course, because women like her will complain about it. Trust me, she will complain about it.
Mhm.
But there's still a the man has the final word when it comes to certain things attitude down here that just feels very oh my god, it's the patriarchy. I never thought I'd say it.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah. Well, because it's
patriarchy.
imagined a lot of the times, but
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
times when it is real.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think here it's real. And then when you see like there's a matriarchal side to it when it comes to the home. It's like the women have the final say. The moms, like man, there's so many mama's boys down here. It's crazy. Like
Oh my God. I lived in a Publica for 2 years. And like a lot of these people, Publicas, for people who don't know, they're housing for people who are going to university because they don't actually have university dorms. Not enough, anyway. So you live in community housing, basically. And what I learned from living in this place is that these people have never been taught how to cook. They've never been taught how to clean. Like they literally they leave the dishes in the fucking sink uncleaned. Like somebody else is going to do it for me, because like Phil said, they're mama's boys. They just assume everyone is going to do everything for them.
hey there, I was answering a few things in the comments here. Hey, it's Travelmatic. Let's go. We are back. Oh
All
yes,
right,
we are back. We are
Travelmatic.
back with a
Didn't we
vengeance.
hang out with Travelmatic during Carnival?
Did he come down here? No, I think we hung out with Jeff, who was on a little bit earlier. He's the big
Right.
ass dude you're probably thinking about. We
Yeah,
hung out
yeah,
with
the
Porter.
giant guy.
Um, yeah. So Travelmatic, I haven't met in person. I would love to meet him. JM is, I believe that's Andre. Oh, well, that's why I hate using the camera sometimes, guys. I forget there's a camera, and I'm like, um. Yeah, so guys, we were talking in the comments here, like why the North is a bit more conservative. It's because it's like the American South, and it's like it's not that it's the opposite. It's just that we're getting closer to the equator. It's more rural. It's more people of the land, if you want to call it. So yeah, there's more faith based. There's more God and country and
But
stuff like
it's
that.
also a lot more black though. Like as the further
Well,
south you
blacks
go
are
in
very
Brazil,
conservative.
the
Blacks are
the
very
fur-
conservative. Well,
I
they're more conservative than people make them out to be. I mean, blacks like their
yeah, yeah,
church. There's there's a familial thing about blacks, that's like that
right.
village mentality. So there, it's a certain level of conservatism.
But
That's
I
why,
mean, you go further south in Brazil and you get Nazis.
yeah, that's so that so that's the thing. That's why, like, that's a group that can go either way with the elections. Like, they voted majority Lula one election, they voted majority Bolsonaro the next. So it's like it's those type of people that are like, just give me like something that's not too complex, that's offering jobs, this and that, and I'm good. But they just end
Right.
up getting screwed either way, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of religious fervor in the north. It's weird. I can't. It's hard to put a finger on it, but it's more
Yeah.
populism. Like when whoever's populist, kind of connects with the North. Kind of the same with the South. That's why you see a lot of black folks voted for Trump. A lot of Latinos voted for
Yeah,
Trump. It's the
yeah,
populist message. He connects on that level. So the North is a bit like that. Now you get to the South. The South is very European. And then you
yeah,
get a different type of conservatism, which is more of that, moral stick up my ass conservatism that sometimes connects with some Nazi shit and stuff like that. So Brazil's complicated, y'all. It's a big country, We're kind of
yeah.
showing some of
And it
its
comes
warts.
from a lot of different places too. That's the thing. Like
Yes,
you have like fucking Nazi Germany, um, people, immigrants from Syria and Venezuela. You have
it's a melting
people.
pot.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's so many different types of people here. Like it's really difficult to have any kind of consistency.
I agree. I agree. Uh, but look at this, guys. Just to get on here, and also so we don't stay on all night. Although I'm having fun with you guys. I'm glad y'all came back. You didn't give up on the Brazil Expat Journal, because I do have a lot of fun with you guys when I'm on here. It's kind of hard to read. Let's see what it says there. But it says, see, can I make the screen bigger? A little bit. That kind of helps a little bit. Let me see. Political, no, that's Afro Brazilians. But anyway, it was talking a bit about sexism in Brazil, um, with rape, guys. Like the level of rape here. Let me see. Gender-based violence. Brazil has seen a disturbing rise in gender-based violence. In 2023, reported rape cases increased by 6.5% to a record high of 83,988, equating to one every 6 minutes. Other
That's
forms of
and that's
violence.
reported rape.
Yeah,
Reported
exactly.
rape. Most
Yes.
women don't report rape.
Yes. Other forms of violence, such as sexual harassment and stalking, also saw significant upticks. I've been stalked before here. It's scary, dude. With increases of 48%, 0.7%, and 34.5%, respectively. So, guys, and gals out there listening, it's not a joke. Like, when people say Brazil is not as dangerous as, I don't get it. I mean, I respect people's opinions. I don't get it because there's a
This is
lot.
the most dangerous place I've ever been, and I lived in Thailand.
Yeah, it's like, can you avoid it? Yes. Can you avoid? Of course. I don't even want to mention when it was the last time I got mugged, so I don't call on the mugging spirits. But
Yeah,
you can more or less get by here without having shit happen to you. But at the same time, Pete, I'm sure you're like this. It's like you're always on, like you're never off in Brazil.
yeah,
Like you're
yeah.
always awake.
Because like I have a ton of students who have never been a victim of a crime, right?
Yeah.
I've been a victim of a crime at least like 15 times since I've been in school, and I've been here 11 years. But the thing is, my students who have never been a victim of a crime never do anything either.
Yeah.
So that's your choice. You either never do anything or you run the risk of being a victim of a crime. That's just the way it rolls, man.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. And it's why, like, sometimes it's just getting tiring. Sometimes, guys, like,
Yeah, oh my
mentally.
God. I've been
Yeah.
at home like the entire winter. I've gone out maybe 3 or 4 times, because it's just not worth it. Like unless you want to do something really important, it's not worth going out.
I feel you. Or somebody in a group was asking about burner phones. Guys, yes, buy a burner phone, but do it before you come to Brazil. I gave her the advice of like definitely have one. I have one that's not even operational. But if you're gonna buy one in the US. Don't come to Brazil and buy one. You're gonna pay more. Like import taxes,
Mhm.
guys, plus the Trump tax on top of that. I don't know if that's gonna affect it, the price of international goods. But yeah, don't buy electronics in Brazil. That's lesson number one.
Yeah.
So women, please come to Brazil, have fun in Brazil, connect with Renee Pranda. Oh, I can never say your name. Pradrama Pram. I gotta practice it. But Renee, connect with her, Adolfi. Okay, and she'll give you more tips about, if you're a woman and you're coming down here solo. Listen to my podcast with Elisa, with Elisa Sanders. I think it's the third one in the BJ. She came down here to Brazil in what, 1980 something by herself. So, you know, don't be afraid to come down here. Just be aware though that, you know, it can be a dangerous place for women depending where you are, what time it is,
It can be a
if you're gonna be
dangerous place
alone,
for
if you're
anyone.
not gonna be alone, you know. That's the one thing, Pete. It's like, I, I- this sounds like it's one of those sensationalist television shows that they have here in Brazil. I'm doing it for
Yeah.
ratings. I need my ratings back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's but at the same time, it's like, yes, this stuff exists, but at the same time, dude, people aren't getting shot like in front of the Copacabana Palace. People aren't getting raped on police at 10 p.m. like in the middle of like, it's not like that. It's not Mad Max in Brazil.
No, no. You know what, dude? I don't even leave my door unlocked.
Uh
The
huh.
door to my apartment is perpetually unlocked
Yeah.
because I live in a good neighborhood. You know where I
Uh-huh.
live. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's safe. Like even the fucking
Mm.
hobos aren't going to burglarize your house. The worst
Yeah.
thing that I've had happen here is actually two drunk girls from the bar under my apartment coming up to use the bathroom. That's that's and I mean that was heaven. I was like, oh my god, like two beautiful girls
Like
just
two
walked into my
chicks, just like
apartment.
the acid was good. Where they
Yeah,
come from?
yep,
No, I feel you. It's like it's mixed messages that I'm sending, right? And you know why that is? Because Brazil sends mixed messages. It's an insane
exactly.
country because it's as dangerous as it is safe. It's as homophobic as it is like super gay friendly. It's
Yeah,
really,
exactly. I
yeah,
mean, like it's one of the
yeah,
most homophobic countries in the world, yet it has
exactly.
like one of the best gay pride parades ever.
I know. Look at this. It's actually a good segue though, because that's exactly what we're getting to: homophobia and LGBTQ rights, violence against these individuals. 257 violent deaths. Okay, the statistics underscore the persistent threat. It's usually top of the list. Brazilian Supreme Court ruled that discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity is a crime akin to racism, so that's a positive. Uh, but the community continues to face violence and discrimination. Like since May 2024, at least 5 gay men have been killed after arranging meetings through dating apps. Guys, be careful with these dating apps. And I say this as somebody who has used dating apps. And like, you got to do it safely. Like, meet people in public areas. Have I
Yeah, some of
invited?
these dudes have been killed in subway stations, though.
Yeah, but it's less likely. I've seen sometimes on the news they go to like some East East Bumblefuck. Like we're going to some like
Yeah,
Timbuktu to meet some dude with a 20-inch dick, and it's like you get there, you're gonna get 20 inches of something else. So
right.
please be careful, okay? Because people take advantage of you, and just even just from a robbery standpoint, somebody might be just trying to set you up
Yeah.
to rob you. So meet people in public areas, talk to them for a little bit, and if you're really that horny, I don't know, like there's a lot of
Pay for it.
whorehouses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like if you can't just like talk to somebody for like a week before me. I mean, I get it. Sometimes you want to hook up fast, but so if you're gonna hook up fast, meet in a public area. If the guy says no, don't go. Because there's actually this happens a lot to I just saw on X, they had a guy that was rolled out on the beach. He had just been drugged. Did you see that? Let me see.
No, no.
Criminal drugged in Copacabana.
Where else?
British tourist abandoned
Ah,
Ipanema
Jesus.
Beach. Let me see if I can show this without them giving me like a YouTube ban. I gotta mute it, I bet. And just show it in like little bits and pieces. Speed it up. Yeah, that might, because they love to give bans for everything on this shit. But look at this, guys. How do I share that screen? Oh, share this tab. All right, see if you can see that. So there he is. See them in the red shirt there? Can you see him? Oh, no, you
Nope.
can't. All right. You got to be my eyes, Pete, because
All
I
right, there
can't
we
see
go.
all the time in the thing. Now it should be there.
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so there he is in the red. I'm gonna I'm gonna just put the I can't I was trying to get it to go. Oh, let me do the playback speed like a little faster so I don't get hit with some weird ban. I don't trust these people. I don't know what the hell I pressed there. I don't know what the hell that is. But look at him. And then he gets up. Boom. And look, these are the girls that robbed him. They're right here. They get into a taxi. That's how it happens in Rio, y'all. He had some good night Cinderella.
Yeah.
Look, there he is, laid out. Yeah. They stole 2 cell phones and they were able to make a transference of 16,000 libras. Oh, he was from Portugal, I guess, which is around 110,000 reais. Good for them, but not really. Fucking bitches. Look at that. He's laid out.
Yeah.
So please be careful. Hey, look,
Yeah.
remember what I said about white guys? I mean, I know the Portugal, it's European. They are gonna think you got money, and when they think you got money, you are a target. That's like the
No, and
silver lining.
the weird thing about this is that the dude probably spoke the language.
Yes, yeah, but oh yeah, he should have known better. I don't know.
No, it's not so much
Huh.
that he should have known better, it's that he shouldn't have been such an obvious target.
Oh man, but men are dumb, and he's European,
Yes,
so
true.
he's European. Portugal's kind of like up there right now, and a lot of these girls are going there, and there's a lot of sex trafficking going on with that too. A lot of them go to Portugal to prostitute. It's complicated. Anyway, one more, last one. Religious intolerance, guys. This is one
Mm.
people don't talk a lot about, because it's touchy. Actually, to be honest, Brazilians don't talk about any of this shit. That's what makes it frustrating, man. Because they
Yeah.
will not talk about racism. You mention the word racism, the first thing they say is like, Brazil doesn't have racism, it has
Yeah. We're all
classism.
one race.
Yeah, we're all one race, and no, the problem here is classism. And then you know what you do? You say, like, okay, here's the classes: the A class, the B, C, D, and then the real poor class. Let's put like like they do on the Family Guy where they put the shades. Let's put the shades of colors on the classes and see what happens here. If
Yeah.
they go from black to white or from white to black. Uh, so they're connected. In other words, so they don't talk about that. They swear they're not a sexist country because girls like to have their bums smacked. Okay, I was
Mm.
looking on the Chat GPT. Sorry to go back here, guys, but like the
Yeah,
stats are
but okay,
crazy.
Phil,
Yeah, talk to me.
it depends on who you're talking to. Because I have a
Yes.
lot of students, a lot of female students who
Mm-hmm.
fucking whine incessantly about the sexism in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
I've also had
oh,
a
I see
lot
what
of
you said.
black students who will whine about the racism.
Well, if they're young people, I hope they do because they're the ones
Yeah,
that are changing it. They're the
yeah.
ones that are making that difference. So I'm all for it. Like that girl that I used to teach, she's a little bit older. I think older than me, so probably in her early to mid 50s, and she would complain about it. She's like, man, it sucks that I need to take a dude to meet with me to every meeting. Otherwise, I'm
Yeah.
not going to be heard. Or a friend of mine, again, I'm not going to say her name, but she's from England, not the same one with the racism,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, anyway, she said that she was just buying a mattress with her husband here in Brazil, and she would ask the guy a question, he would not answer. Like, he would literally be like, "Okay, it's 500 reais. How big is it? It's 500." Like, he would just not look her in the face and answer her. It reminded me, Pete. Remember, there's an X-Files episode where they're in some hick town, and the sheriff's asking Mulder all these questions, and,
Yeah.
and he's like, she's the forensic scientist, and like, he'll
Yeah.
be like, and how long has a body been dead? And Mulder's like, why don't you ask her? Because, like, she's literally the
She's a
person,
scientist.
like, she knows the answer. Like, I don't know. And it was one of those moments where she's talking to the guy, and he's just answering to her husband. It's really crazy down here with stuff like that. But anyway, but religious intolerance, yeah, it's another thing. People just don't talk about it. But man, especially against Afro religions, surprise, surprise. But also a little bit of a infighting between the Catholics and the Protestants. Why not take it old school, right?
It is very
And
old school.
oh, that's the oldest battle of them all. We love the old school battles. And uh I don't know, what Brazilians' opinions are of Muslims as much. Like, I have never seen as much not that much Islamophobia here. In fact, a lot of them are like very pro-Palestine, obviously, for obvious reasons. Much more, left wing down here. Uh,
Right.
and there's a lot of Middle Easterns here. In fact, there's more Lebanese in Brazil than there are in Lebanon. And like Pete said, a lot of Syrians here because of the Syrian war. A lot of Brazilian food has Arabic ties, like
The
the
pizza
kiwi.
is
Yeah,
super
they
Arabic.
spihas. They have so that's, I think Brazil's a good place for Muslims. And I even see like the African Muslims that have come after. They, of course, they're a little bit more marginalized. They're downtown. They don't have as much wealth, but I don't see people like complain about them as much. There's always one that's going to say some bullshit, but it's like you'd expect that the racism would start there, and it does to some level, but not that anti-Muslim. At least has not been my experience. Not anti, Japanese with Buddhism and all that, because there's a lot of Japanese folks down here. I think it's the country with the most Japanese outside of Japan. Where it gets kind of freaky, kind of ugly, is with the African religions. So just be aware of that. That people will make comments, people will stare depending on the clothes that you wear, and it's all kind of a mix. It's a mix of regular racism, but with the religious intolerance on top, where there's incidences here. I think here they talk about the what do you call it? Places that have been broken into, and I went past it a little bit. Let me go back here. Afro-Brazilian religions such as Candomblé and Umbanda often face discrimination and violence. These communities prove that their religious practices are frequently disrespected and targeted. And of course, in amidst all of that, there's the backlash, from people that are not into any of those religions, and they hate Christians and they hate Catholics and they break stuff, and it's weird to see because America, for the most part, at least when I was growing up, uh, there wasn't so much of a battle. I've never. Did you experience religious battles growing up? Like, I've never experienced that in my life till Brazil.
Not really, because I was going through a kind of religious identity crisis when I was growing up. So
Uh-huh.
I grew up in the church, and then I just kind of started to lose religion and gave it up completely. Um, so I didn't really have that conflict. The closest I came was when I was living in the Fraser Valley, and
Mm.
like there's a lot of people that are like so conservative, like ultra like creationist Christians, the type of people who believe the world is flat actually, and they control everything, everything. um so yeah, when I came into contact with those people, that was where I first realized I had a disconnection. I haven't experienced that here, because here, for all the people I've worked with, um, like, okay, I have this student. I was talking to her the other day and I asked her, "What superstitions do you have?" And she said, "I thank God for my meals," basically meaning she says grace. And I'm like, okay, that is a superstition, but okay, it's not that bad. But I mean, I've met people in Canada who take that shit way more seriously. So I think I just haven't met these types of people because I couldn't work with them. I
I
couldn't. I mean,
see.
I've worked with Mormons. I've worked with fucking Mormons, and I can still work with them. But like the real hardcore God fearing Bible thumpers, nah, I couldn't do it.
I know. Well, that's why you live in São Paulo, because like as you move out of São Paulo, you start to meet these people. And again, this is where Brazil is so freaky because, well, I always say it's like it's bipolar because it's also a country that like there's a whole religion around an alien called Bilu, and he was on Global or SBT, like they interviewed him or something. Like what? Like there's all these hippie villages all spread out through Minas Gerais that, you know, pray to crystals and like that's Brazil too. And people just accept that, yeah, that's Brazil. Like I said, a Wicca is big down here. A good friend of ours is a witch. And
Yes.
congratulations, my Vesper. She's on one of these radio stations that I really loved talking about witchcraft. There's a radio station down here that just has esoteric stuff. So she's on there. So yeah, well, how do you make sense of it? Because one side of it is very open religiously, and then there's another side that took a little bit of like the American religious right,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but it's just kind of all over the place because Brazil is not a very moral country, and I don't say that as a judgment. I just say it as a fact. You go to the
Yeah.
beach,
No, no.
it's
Morality is
very fluid
actually,
here.
no, you can judge morality like you can
Yeah,
judge math or physics. Like it's
yeah,
quantifiable. Like
yeah,
what helps the most people and what hurts the most people. That's
yeah.
how you can judge morality. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, in that case, no, Brazil actually hurts more people than it helps.
Yeah, okay. That's a good way to put it. So their version of the Christian like that Christian right just doesn't really it's not real. Like but it's not real for real. Not like the US version which is a show and that it's fake behind it. But this is just never gets to the show part because it's the country of carnival. So this preacher that's like going on, you know, 6 months of the year about the sins of the flesh, and then carnival comes and they have a carnival parade in front of the church. So it's like, and it's not, it's not a little parade. It's like, I don't know. I can't make sense of it. I'm trying. I've been here for a while, and I'm still not making sense of this country. But I do believe that if you know some of these things before you come down, and again, I try to make this as broad as possible. If you're black, if you're white, rich, poor, woman, from a different religion, queer, whatever, however you identify, just be aware that it can be a complicated country, especially if you decide to live here, because it's easy to fall in love with Brazil. You're here for those 2-3 weeks. Gorgeous country, wonderful people, marvelous experiences. You're like, man, this is where I want to be. Once you move and you decide I'm going to live here, it's a different ball game, and you can get frustrated really quickly, and you can get fucked up and hurt really quickly if you don't recognize these things right away.
Yeah,
Not everything that glitters is gold, right? What say you?
exactly.
Because we got to go.
Yeah, yeah. I would just echo what Phil says. It's a beautiful country. It's a wonderful experience, but yeah, all that glitters is not gold. That's perfect. It's not perfect.
Yeah, far from, but we end up falling in love with its imperfections, don't we? Now, guys, police affair. Jeff. Jeff has the last word, and I love
All
it.
right.
This sums up Brazil. Like you said, Polícia Federal is hell on earth. Polícia Federal is hell on earth, Pete. That sums it up. Uh, anyway, guys, thank you
I
for
should
those
be
that
so
hung
lucky.
out till late with us. Stay tuned next Monday. Who knows? You know what I want to talk about next Monday, Pete, is cities around Sao Paulo that people should go to and visit because they're really cool cities. Because I am in love with the interior of Sao Paulo, so that's gonna be the topic. If you know of any, well, you've been in Jundiaí, so you can talk a little bit about that
I
region.
lived in Jundiaí for a year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So save some Jundiaí stories. So we're gonna talk about that, guys. Places around São Paulo that are worth visiting, and some places I'd say even worth living. Really nice cities around São Paulo, and who knows
Yeah.
if this is a
And I
spoiler,
actually work a
spoiler for
lot.
Phil's future. Go ahead.
I
Yeah.
actually work a lot with the terminal in Santos, uh,
Ah, cool. So
BTP.
cool.
So yeah, I've never
Fully.
been there. I've never been there, but
Okay. I've been there.
apparently it's apparently a great city. So
Yeah, it's ranked as one of the top cities in Brazil. Anyway, guys, let's go for real. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Next week, let's make a promise. I'll make a promise to
all
myself.
right, we'll do
Be
it. We'll
here
do it.
because
We'll
I
do it.
know what the topic is already. So, and if you've lived in any city outside of a big metropolitan area, even if it's not Sao Paulo, Brazil, give us your thoughts. I would love to hear them. We are gone for tonight. Love you guys. Until next time. Where's my outro music? I gotta play my outro music. And I gotta put on my NPR voice and say, thank you for listening to the Brazil Expat Journal, the BJ you can trust. Join us next week where we'll be talking about cities around Sao Paulo worth living in or just visiting. So we'll see you next week. Thank you for being here, guys. Love you very much. Until next time. Bye bye. Oh, how do I end this stream? That's how I end this stream. Live long and prosper.